to Three Kitchens, the home cooking podcast. I'm Heather Dyer. I'm here with my co-host, Sarah Somasundaram.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Sarah. And Erin Walker.
Hello.
Hi, Erin. How's it going today, you guys?
We're feeling pretty good.
I was last night I was going through Instagram, and I follow a whole bunch of chefs, and apparently this is amazing new cookbook that's out called Mr. Jews in Chinatown, and it's by a guy named Brendan Jew. Apparently he has this amazing, very well-known restaurant in San Francisco that boasts Chinese American food, and he's apparently everybody wants to eat there, everybody wants to cook like him, and so he has released this cookbook, and I was all excited, and I thought, oh, should I get another cookbook to add to my collection? And then I went to read the review on it, and there was an interview with him, and he said that this book was meant for chefs. It's not meant for the home cook. So I was like, oh, good thing I didn't get it. And he said, who says a cookbook has to be for home cooks? Sometimes they have to be for the people that can develop recipes in a restaurant. And so this is what the cookbook is for. And I was like, oh, thankfully I didn't buy it. Thankfully I read into it, because I wouldn't want to own a book like that.
Isn't that every book you own?
But I was just thinking of Dishoom.
That's exactly where my mind went too. Yeah.
And Dishoom, they never claim it to be a book for chefs. It's supposed to be for home cooking, but it's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of bad words. And so I'm like, I do own something like that. I wish someone would have just sort of introduced or told me about that book and said, it is for a professional and not for me.
Does that just mean it's more complicated, like more technique without explanation, because a chef would already know the technique and so they don't need the explanation? Or how is it written differently?
I don't know about Mr. Jews in Chinatown book, the cookbook, but I think it is meant for someone with a lot of equipment,
right?
For one thing, and I think you're not going to spend a lot of time on a recipe unless, there's a good reason for it, right?
I hear that complaint from a lot of chefs that the recipes that they develop for cookbooks for the home cook, they have to modify quite a bit.
That's
because of the equipment and because of having to reduce it down to 4 serving size.
Yes.
When you think about it, they've
got
huge equipment and huge mixers and huge stuff that I don't even know about that produces large quantities of things in a specific way that you can't really recreate on a smaller level, and so they kind of rewrite the cookbook for the home cook.
And to be fair, because I always try to get people to buy Dishoom, and then I talk about it, then nobody wants to buy it. I'm not very good at promoting it, but to be fair, Dishoom does that, but for the home cook. But some of the recipes takes a 3-day prep.
Yes.
Right. So you're planning, if you're that kind of person and you really want to up your Indian cooking game, do it.
Yeah.
But, it takes a little bit of planning. Right?
I follow a chef who talks about the Dishoom cookbook, and I'm like, she's a professional chef. She owns a restaurant in England. She's been on Chef's Table on Netflix, and she talks about Dishoom as a cookbook. And so that's the audience.
Someone should have told me that
was intended for, and Sarah made a mistake.
I fell for it. But you know what? I'm trying 2 more recipes from that cookbook, because I opened it last night too, and then I'm like, gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this,
and you can do it.
But it's kind of fun to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
I think we all are okay with taking a challenge and being stumped and failed, and we're okay with going through that process, right?
If not, what are we doing here? Why are we talking?
No, that's true. That's true.
That's the whole thing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So what's your challenge today that you're taking on, Heather?
Okay, this actually, now that I've said that, it's not so much of a challenge. It's not challenging, which is also nice too.
Yes,
right?
that's
Sometimes
good.
it's nice to have
Absolutely.
something that part of it is new, or it's a new way of putting it together, but it's actually not a challenge. But I think it'll just be fun to do. So I'm talking breakfast, and specifically chia pudding. Have you guys had chia pudding before?
I have not. No.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to share with you then.
Oh, excellent. I'm just gonna say I've never had it. Every time someone says
No.
something,
I will still
and then
share.
I'll get a taster.
And then you'll be like, well, I did have it before.
Oh, right. That's like what she did with the bow. Oh, right. Now I remember.
That's how I get free samples.
That's okay. Well, chia pudding is something that we discovered a few years ago, and we used to have it. My husband and I, the kids aren't really crazy about it, but we used to have it for breakfast quite a bit. You make it the night before so that you have it for breakfast. And then you're not tempted to eat like toast or muffins or the carb stuff that the kids typically eat.
Right.
And it's all ready in the fridge and ready to go.
So this is low carb then?
Yeah. I wouldn't just eat it for breakfast. Eat it anytime. It's literally pudding. So, yeah. And our favorite was chocolate and peanut butter. So that just tells you right there. It's like dessert.
No kidding. For breakfast?
Yes. Or anytime. So let me tell you how you make it. Chia seeds. I assume you've at least seen them. Mm-hmm. They're the seeds from the chia plant.
Yes.
Which I believe is native to like Mexico, Central America.
Okay.
And it was a part of Aztec and Mayan diets, kind of like quinoa. It's like historically that type of grain.
Okay.
There's white, black, brown ones. I find black is most commonly found in the store where I shop. So that's what I buy.
Okay. I've only seen the black ones before, so that's interesting that there's more varieties.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's different type of chia plant or if it's a different harvesting or, I have no idea about that. When you soak them with liquid, they become like a gel.
Yes, I've seen that. Right.
Which is why it makes a pudding, because you soak it with milk. I use almond milk.
Okay.
Usually some kind of sweetener like maple syrup or honey.
Yeah.
And that's the basic pudding. And then you want flavor, obviously, because chia is not going to really taste like anything. So that's why we do chocolate peanut butter. Put cocoa in there, peanut butter, mix it all up, let it sit overnight in the fridge. And then the next day, you've got this yummy pudding and you put toppings on it, like coconut or nut. Yeah. Or like mini chocolate chips, or you can put yogurt, or you can put like however you want to top it, fruit. Lots of the puddings you see are made with fruit. So you'd have like a raspberry lemon chia pudding.
Yeah. Okay.
It just happens that chocolate peanut butter is our favorite one. And it's like approximately a quarter cup of seeds and a cup of milk. And you have 2 servings.
Does it have to sit overnight? Is that how it comes together? Like it needs some time?
It needs time. It doesn't have to be overnight, but you have to have it 2-3 hours probably.
Right. What don't the kids like about it?
I think it's a texture thing.
Okay.
Because it's kind of that, the seeds kind of, because they get a little bit gummy and then they can stick in your teeth a little bit. Sometimes I think it's a texture. It was maybe now they would, sometimes initially you don't like it and then later you try it again and you like it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we'll see when I make this on the weekend what they're going to think of it.
I'm curious because I've never tried chia seed anything, because I think once I saw a video of the texture after it gets soaked and it seemed a little slimy, like it reminds me of okra. Have you guys ever had okra?
Yeah, no. Okra gets kind of slimy. I've had it before. Yes.
I think I never went there, but now I'm curious since you're making.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this, I was like, I haven't made chia pudding in a while. I want to do something with that. And I happened to be looking through the Half-Baked Harvest cookbook, as I do.
Yeah.
Because I just love looking at the pictures and everything. And I was like, she has a Half-Baked Harvest Buddha smoothie bowl. And a Buddha bowl, I actually had to look up the definition because I was like, why is it called a Buddha bowl? I don't even know. And the Urban Dictionary says it's a bowl that is so full of stuff that it's rounded like the belly of a happy fat Buddha.
Like a laughing Buddha.
Yeah.
That's a funny definition. I would have not guessed that.
I know. I didn't know where it came. I thought maybe it originated as some Asian dish or something, but I had no idea. Right. And often Buddha bowls are not sweet. They're usually like noodles.
Yeah, they're more of a savory.
Yeah, or rice bowl with a bunch of meat and vegetables and pile on all the stuff you like. Yeah, usually a Buddha bowl. a Buddha bowl. Usually they're savory, but in this case, you do chia pudding and you do smoothie, like a thick fruit smoothie.
Oh.
And then you add all your toppings, like the fruit and the nuts and the whatever you like on top, and you eat the whole thing out of the bowl.
Nice. I've seen smoothie bowls where they make them really pretty. Have you seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they decorate them, and they have like a whole system of how the toppings go and where they go. And
well, I don't know that I know the system, but I'll try to make it look pretty. I was thinking I would give the kids, like, I'll make the bowl. I'll give them all the toppings, the fruit and nuts and whatever, and they can top their own.
Oh, that'll be fun.
What they want.
That'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be nice. That's really fun.
Yeah. And so she uses like a plain chia pudding, like basically what I just described to you, with, I think, maybe vanilla as like a flavor, which I'm thinking I'm not going to love a super plain chia pudding just based on my experience so far with chia pudding. But I'm going to give it a shot because that's her recipe. And maybe you need that kind of a little more plain balanced with the smoothie. I don't know. I think it does have syrup and vanilla because you need some sweetener because otherwise it has like zero flavor.
Right.
That's why you always see chia puddings with like fruit or chocolate or spices, like a a chai flavored pudding, or there's all anything you can imagine. Now, Tieghan Gerard, the Half Baked Harvest book, she also includes with her Buddha Bowl a homemade granola. So I'm also going to make her granola.
I want you to share that.
Yes, it looks so good. And I've tried to make granola in the past and I didn't love it. I don't love the way it clumps. It ends up being just sort of like crumbs.
Yes.
And all the pieces don't stick. And so I'm hoping that I'm giving it a shot. We like her recipes and they're usually really good. So I'm going to go with it. It's called a maple roasted pumpkin spice granola.
Oh, I hope that turns out, because I have also been disappointed by granola over the time. And so I don't have a recipe that I really like that much. So then I end up, I'd like to eat it more, but I don't. So, I'm excited to see this.
Yeah. And my kids eat a lot of granola. I end up buying a lot of granola because they eat it. Yep. They eat it just plain. They eat it mixed with yogurt. And so it would be great to find a recipe that they enjoy that I can make at home. And
yeah, totally.
When you buy the granola from the store, is it better than the one you have made in the past? Okay. Yeah. Because it clumps better?
Yeah, it's like sticks together, and so that you get those clusters as opposed to like the nuts and the oats and everything is like individual.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. I've never figured out how to get it to stick well and taste good.
Right.
And I'm not going to use corn syrup.
And what is granola made of?
It's typically oats, nuts, seeds, and some kind of sweetener, like something with some sticky to hold it together, like a syrup or a sugar of some kind to hold it so it sticks together, and spice. Often there's like this one, I'm assuming pumpkin spice has your typical nutmeg, cinnamon, clove, maybe. I'm not sure. I do have that pumpkin spice.
Oh, I gave you some. Right.
Yeah. So I think I can just use that. I'll see you. I think most granola recipes are like whatever you've got, like nuts and seed, whatever you kind of have handy, or sometimes they have dried fruit like raisins or craisins or something like that in them. My kids aren't great fans of like raisins put into stuff. So I'll probably just do it like hers as she's got it and see how it goes over. So that's my plan for breakfast.
Sounds great.
Essentially, granola could be gluten-free.
Yeah, I think if you have gluten-free oats. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
You could probably even make a nut-based granola, like just nuts and seeds with the same sorts of spices and stuff, and mix it together and roast it.
Yeah, I imagine there's paleo granola or something, which wouldn't have the grain in it. I bet you could find all kinds of.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because I love granola. I love sprinkling that on everything.
I especially love it on a yogurt.
Yes.
And I haven't done that in a long time because I just kind of gave up on the granola thing.
Used to be my go-to. Yeah. I used to eat coconut yogurt with granola like every day. And then the problem is I get sick of these things, just like the chia pudding we had so often that I was like, stop making it. And now I'm kind of like, I want to switch up my breakfast again.
I do that too. I find one thing I love, I eat it until I'm sick of it, and then I drop it.
I know.
And forget about it. Yeah.
And then you forget about it. And then when you come back to it, you're like, oh yeah, I do like this, but maybe in moderation.
Yes. That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not really testing out something new, but putting it all together into the bowl with the topping, that is kind of new.
Yeah.
And it will be new for my family. We're not big on chia pudding, so we're going to see if we can convert them.
Yes.
And my husband actually said, well, can you make mine with the chocolate peanut butter pudding? Because he does. So I might maybe do two, maybe do a chocolate peanut butter with a banana smoothie or something.
Oh, that'll be good.
That was my next question, was what kind of smoothie are you making with it?
So I was thinking berries, because a frozen berry or berry banana, that's usually the go-to smoothie around here.
Do you make your smoothies with a milk or a yogurt or orange juice?
Yeah, I usually put yogurt. And in this case, you don't want it too runny because you're going to eat it out of a bowl, right? So I'm going to follow her recipe just because that's what I kind of committed to. But I believe she doesn't do, I think she does milk, ice, and fruit.
And the banana should thicken it really well, right?
Yeah, and maybe instead of ice, I use a frozen banana or something, because I'm pretty sure I've got some in the freezer.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good way to get through the things frozen in my freezer too.
Aha.
Oh, that sounds excellent, Heather.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I will share the pudding. I won't do a whole bowl for you because I'm not sure how a smoothie will transport.
Oh, I look forward to it. Fantastic.
Yeah, I look forward to it. A new breakfast idea.
Yeah, and I feel like it's starting to feel like spring. We're having more sunshine, and it inspires me to think of things that are like, I don't want a hot bowl of oatmeal right now or whatever. Like, I feel like I want something, that freshness with the fruit, and they do look pretty. Like Sarah said, they can look really beautiful, and I kind of want to play around.
And that's
the
nice thing about having seasons, right? You get inspired by different foods depending on the weather.
Okay, so I will make my Smoothie Buddha Bowl and my granola, and join us after the break to find out how it went.
Sounds exciting.
There's a whole lot of other stuff you can do with chia seeds, not just pudding. You can eat it raw or toasted. It can be processed into flour for baking. I've also made jam with chia as a thickener. Chia seeds are high in fiber, omega-3, protein, calcium, iron, potassium, and probably other good stuff I'm forgetting to mention. Join us on Instagram or Facebook and let us know how you eat chia seeds.
So Heather, how did your breakfast meal turn out?
My breakfast meal, my Buddha smoothie bowls.
Buddha smoothie bowls.
I had a couple of things I needed to do the night before. The chia pudding, because it has to sit, and the granola, just because it's a bit time consuming. So I made the granola first. I just followed the recipe, which is nuts, cooked quinoa, oats, coconut, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, hemp seeds, maple syrup, coconut oil, vanilla, and then some spices. And she has them kind of separated out, but I just used the pumpkin spice mix that I already had. And mix all that stuff together, lay it on a cookie sheet, bake it in the oven, and then you bring it out, let it cool just a little bit, and then press it down like with a cup. Press it into the pan and then let it cool completely. And that's how you get the clumping, is because it's pressed down.
Right.
Oh, I've never known that step before. That
Me
seems
either.
like it was key.
Perhaps this is the problem with my past granola attempts. However, I found, because it's quite a big recipe, it makes about 6 cups of granola.
Oh, wow.
It was quite a thick, like it was like right to the brim of my cookie sheet. So when I went to break it up after it had totally cooled, the outsides were good. The middle was a little moist still. So I think it was too thick. I think next time I would split it between 2 pans and do it like 2 batches.
Okay.
So that it gets crispier. And
thanks for that recommendation for when I go to make it myself.
Yes, exactly. Because after I crumbled it up and some of it was still a bit wet, I put it back in the oven for like 10 more minutes to try to really dry those bits. So I think it would have worked better in 2 pans. So try that when you do it and let me know how it works.
Yes.
But it was good. We really like it. I would definitely make it again.
I was also a big fan of, I ate it last night, just out of the bag, like trail mix.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, it was so tasty.
And I would have put like dried cranberries or raisins or something in it. When I eat it, I do that, but my kids don't like dried fruit in their granola, so I didn't bother mixing it in.
Right.
But you certainly could put any of those things that you like in there. So the chia pudding also is made the night before because the chia seeds need time with the milk in order to plump up and make themselves into pudding. So I made 2 versions. I made the one from the Half-Baked Harvest book that goes with the smoothie bowl, which is just a plain chia pudding. It's just chia seeds, almond milk in this case. You could use whatever kind of milk you like.
Yeah.
A little bit of salt and honey or maple syrup and vanilla. Chia seeds are tasteless, really. So it's very plain. Knowing that it would be quite plain, I also made the one that we tend to like, that we've made many times, which is the chocolate peanut butter, which also has cocoa powder, natural peanut butter, well, any kind of peanut butter really, but I like it a little less sweet. It also I think it has maple syrup as well. I think if you used a sweetened peanut butter, like the regular old peanut butter, you would probably not I wouldn't put a sweetener in there, but with the natural peanut butter that doesn't have any sweetener, maybe a little of the maple syrup or honey. So the reviews of the pudding, just the pudding itself from my family, the kids were not crazy about the plain one. In fact, neither was I. I thought it was you need something with it, which is probably why she puts it with the smoothie, because the smoothie is a strong fruit flavor. Yeah. The pudding is simple and plain. So the kids didn't want to eat the plain one, with or without the smoothie. They tasted the plain pudding and they said, no, thank you.
I loved it.
I loved the plain one too. I'm right with you, Sarah. I thought I just sat and I ate the whole thing with a spoon, like bite after bite after bite after bite.
What toppings did you put on it? Chia pudding typically has toppings put on.
I just ate it plain.
I did both. I did half with like plain, and then I threw the granola into it, and I had the rest of it with it. I could do it plain too. And I loved the chocolate and peanut butter one too. It was a little bit, but I would not eat it for breakfast because I'm not a breakfast person, but totally would have it as a mid-afternoon snack. Absolutely.
My kids would eat that for lunch.
And I find it's good for that too.
Just in those little bowls with the chocolate and the peanut butter, they would be all over that.
And there's all kinds of, if you just Google chia pudding, there's chai spice, there's different fruits, there's lemon, there's
the chai spice. Okay.
Holy crap. I love it, Heather. Like I really love it.
It was really good. I'm definitely going to be making it for myself. The kids didn't try the pudding. My husband and I did. We both loved it, but they loved the granola. Loved it. So that's definitely a winner here.
I was thinking that the Buddha Bowl as a whole, so you've got the smoothie on one side of that, you put the pudding in the bowl, and then you pour smoothie in there to fill up the rest of the bowl, and then you put all your you put whatever toppings that you would put on your pudding or whatever makes it pretty, right? So I put fresh fruit, granola. Yeah. Okay, I have a theory on this.
Okay.
I think people put Buddha Smoothie Bowl in a cookbook simply because it makes a pretty picture. Okay. I mean, yes, it tastes good. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's a shit ton of work. So you've made your pudding, then you got to mix up a smoothie, then you got to chop up all these fruits. And if you want it to look like the picture, then you're placing it neatly on there. If you've made granola, you've done that. You're putting that on there. You're like, I think it's about the pretty
maybe
colors. Honestly, I mean, yes, it's good. My family liked it. The one kid ate the chocolate peanut butter pudding with the fruit smoothie in his bowl and then put fruit on top. The other just went straight smoothie with no pudding and put fruit on top, and they both liked it. My husband ate both. With the chocolate peanut butter pudding, I made a banana smoothie for him. So it was like frozen bananas and almond milk, basically. He liked that. He ate both of them. And I was like so tired from prepping all this stuff and cutting up all this fruit and everything and making it look pretty for a picture that I was like, I'm not a big breakfast person either first thing in the morning. So I was like, you guys just eat it. I'll eat something. I'll eat pudding later. I prefer the pudding with some toppings. Like I really like the chocolate peanut butter with like coconut and cashews on top, and that's it. I could do without the smoothie.
I'm just curious with the chai flavored chia pudding, would you have to grind the spices into a powder?
I'm not sure. I've never made it.
Has anyone looked it up yet? Or
I looked up a recipe. Yeah, you use a bunch of ground spices and just add them in.
Okay.
I would think because it sits overnight, that's, absorbed a little bit into the milk.
Right.
Like it's not just like dry spices in there.
I have the one that I'm going to try this weekend. Maybe I'll send it to you, Sarah.
Yeah.
But it just has the chia seeds, milk, vanilla, cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, cloves, and then bananas and almond flakes.
On top? The bananas and almond flakes or the topping?
Yeah, so you layer it. So you put your chia pudding, you put your bananas, you put more chia pudding, and then on top you put your toasted almond flakes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your presentation. Like you wouldn't do that until the next day. Make your pudding first. Don't put your bananas.
Okay.
Don't do the layering thing until the next day when it's set, because otherwise it'll all just mix together.
Yeah.
These.
Yeah. I can't wait to eat more.
Yeah. And I know we talked about this when I handed it off to you, that with the plain pudding, the seeds kind of settled on the bottom and the milk was still liquid on the top, which at first I was like, oh no, it didn't work. It didn't set. But once you stir it all together, it was good. But the chocolate peanut butter one was not so separate. Like it seemed to be, maybe the peanut butter helped to suspend the seeds and like they didn't just sink to the bottom of it.
Almond milk is a lot thinner, right? Like it's.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what kind of fat content does almond milk have compared to like a dairy milk? Because I will probably make this with a dairy milk.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see the difference. I can't do the dairy, so that's why I use almond. But I don't know. I don't know how the difference would be. It might be a thicker pudding.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it.
I
mean, I liked it too. I just thought it was more work than I was like typically willing to do for a breakfast, just to make it look pretty.
I don't think I would make the smoothie either. I'm kind of with you on the grab and go, something quick.
And to me, I want to drink a smoothie. If I'm going to have a smoothie, I want to have it with a straw. I didn't really get the spooning a smoothie out of a bowl. It just seemed kind of strange to me, but maybe
but I think that's a trend.
I'm discovering things about myself.
Yeah. But I think you hit it on the nose when you said that is kind of a trend, right? Like it's these things that are now like photography and everything around it makes it kind of pretty to make. And
it might also be something that might appeal to somebody like you or me, Sarah, who weren't super excited about the thought of trying chia simply because it looked a little too weird
gooey
and slimy. And it's not pretty looking.
Like the plain one just looks gray.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd make that and then you'd be like, oh, this chia thing's not so bad. And then you would just make it without the smoothie. But it maybe warms us up or gives us a chance to get on board.
Give it a go for the first time.
Or maybe if you're having people over and you want the presentation, like it looks pretty. And I mean, it is like, it's not that it's so time consuming. It just, to me, felt like more work. We're used to just like, here, have some toast and I'll scramble an egg. Like it's, we don't do fancy breakfasts at my house. So to me, it felt like more work. But if I had people over, maybe at a time when we can do that again.
And I think it's a good way to get kids to eat fruits and veggies. Maybe you could put like veggie in it
and if you're having kids or friends or family over that have food sensitivities, this is a great thing that is yummy and everybody enjoys it. And it doesn't feel like, oh, we're all going to have pancakes and here's your bowl of chia pudding. Like, if you're doing a brunch or something, it's a nice option for somebody who is gluten-free or dairy-free or
eggs. Yeah.
And it looks like you put effort into it. No, I think it was great.
I like your idea of putting it in the kids' lunches. I think if I can hit on the right ones that they would like in their lunch, I don't know, because it's high protein and high fiber. So you're filling up.
Yeah. My kids need that.
And low carb.
My kids need that. Yeah.
And no carbs. Yeah.
Lately. Okay. I've never had crunchy peanut butter before.
Oh, okay. You haven't? Okay.
I had only ever eaten smooth peanut butter like my whole life. My kids are reading Calvin and Hobbes, and Calvin only eats crunchy peanut butter. And so my one little Calvin said, I will only eat crunchy peanut butter because Calvin only eats crunchy peanut butter. And I was like, sure, I'll buy crunchy peanut butter. I had never bought it before. I'd only ever had Smooth. I am now like the biggest crunchy peanut butter fan.
Oh, okay.
I was about to say, and now you know that crunchy is far superior to Smooth. And why have you not been eating it your whole life? What is going on with your parents that they didn't give you crunchy peanut butter?
Yet another reason. It's all my mom's fault. I don't know. Blame mothers.
I use Smooth because I find it's a little easier because blending that peanut butter with the milk can be a little tough to do.
But there were little chunks of peanut butter that weren't blended, and I liked that, which made me go, oh my God, I can't wait to do this with chunky peanut butter.
Yeah. We usually put roasted peanuts on top.
Oh, yeah.
But, and then you can always mix it all together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you could make it with crunchy peanut butter too.
Now that I've discovered it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Great job, Heather.
The things we're learning.
Yeah.
The things that are just basic that we're learning.
Well, I'm glad you liked it and that I've now converted you to Chia fans.
Yep.
And maybe you'll find other ways. Maybe you've had my Chia jam. I may have shared it with you and you didn't realize. Because I've used it you can use it as a thickener instead of pectin and sugar.
Oh.
It's fruit and Chia because it thickens it up and you don't need those other thickeners. And it's way healthier for you.
Great idea.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do any this past year.
Oh, wow.
But the year before I did raspberry Chia, I think.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
Well, thank you, Heather.
I'm so glad that you chose this recipe because it has changed my life yet again. Heather's recipes are simple, but they are changing our lives.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not pulling my weight because I'm picking something like chia pudding. I thought I'm really slacking off here, but I'm glad you guys liked it.
You're not slacking off at all because you've introduced us to stuff we've never tried before.
Yeah, like the salted lemons. I just made 2 massive jars of it. Massive.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I hadn't had that before either. Yeah. So that was
so good.
That was another swing in the dark. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's it for this one.
Bye.
And now for the fine print. You can find pictures and recipe links on Instagram and Facebook at 3 Kitchens Podcast. Feel free to leave us a comment or a suggestion for future episodes. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you like and subscribe, that helps more people find us.
And now, time to do the dishes.